Good evening, this is Tony Thomas. There's a man in New York who's become a kind of legend in the music business. He's been making a handsome living as a lyricist and a music publisher for the past 50 years. His name is Irving Caesar, and this program is about him and with him. Among many other things, he was the man who wrote the words to this famous melody of Vincent Newman's, T for Two. The man who wrote the lyrics to T for Two more than 40 years ago has this to say about the music business today.
You know, I think music is abused. I mean, they've made a common thing of it. They've made a common thing of it wherever you go, at elevators and banks and supermarkets, on the radio, all the time, thrown at you. So that there's been a deadening of appreciation.
The gentleman is entitled to his opinions. He's a senior citizen of the music world. Irving Caesar, veteran songsmith, the proprietor of the Irving Caesar Music Publishing Company with offices on Broadway, in the very heart of Manhattan, right in the showbiz nucleus of New York City. That's his world. He glories in it and he thrives on it. In fact, Irving Caesar almost typifies it. He's everybody's impression of the traditional pop songwriter. Hearty, gregarious, rotund of figure, with a cigar perpetually clamped between his teeth. He's a man for whom there have never been such things as regular office hours. He's ready at any time and at any place to do a song, or just talk about the music business. Caesar has a reputation among song creators as a master of interpretation, or as they say, plugging. They even say he missed his real calling. He should have been an entertainer himself. In his early days in the business, Caesar could even sell bad songs to publishers on the strength of his own vigorous and enthusiastic renditions. He would then take the advance money and spend it before the publisher realized he'd been stuck with a turkey. Irving Caesar's success goes back as far as 1917, the year he wrote the lyrics for Swanee, but more about that later. All through the roaring 20s in New York, he turned out lyrics for Broadway shows. One of his biggest successes came in 1925, when he teamed up with composer Vincent Newman to write the songs for No No Nanette.
This is more than the intended, for it is that we've offended. Won't you call him back and hear it play?
He's only pouting.
Your love he's doubting.
I haven't done a thing for today.
Oh no! Still been thinking that he must have made a sofa for you, just have innocently driven him for food.
He tried to rob me. He tried to rob me.
And everybody else is watching too.
No, no, Nanette, that's
show, there was a Bible salesman about whom the story revolved, and he was very generous to 3 girls, innocently, but misunderstood. So we had to write a song to express his character. And when you write songs for shows, you have to write verses. And this is how the song went. I'm a very ordinary man, trying to work out life's happy plan, doing unto others as I'd like to have them doing unto me. When I find a very lonely soul, being kind becomes my only goal. I feel so much better when I tell them my philosophy. I want to be happy, but I won't be happy till I make you happy too. Life's really worth living when we are mirth giving. Why can't I give some to you? When skies are gray and you say you are blue, I'll send the sun smiling through. I want to be happy, but I won't be happy till I make you happy too. Well, I Want to Be Happy wasn't exactly the first song I ever wrote. The first song I wrote with George Gershwin. We were really young then. Very, very young. And we walked into Jerome H. Remick on 46th Street one day with a song. And they took it and gave us an advance of $500. $500 way back in 1916. We ran home to our fathers and mothers. And what do you think they said? They said, boys, you're too young. Bring a lawyer next time. We would have given them $500 to have a song published. Well, Vivian Segal introduced it in Charles Billingham's 1917 at the Century Theater. And we were very young, so bear that in mind and make some allowances in the lyric at least, although Gershwin's talent sticks out immediately. You, just you. And I'm gonna sing about you. For wooing time is just about you. I'm gonna tell the world a story, and it's all gonna be about you. Who's the most wonderful gal in Dixie? Tell me who's the most wonderful pal, gal and pal, we were kids in Dixie, who? Just you. Why? Who's got the kind of love and fills my heart with delight? And who am I going with in Dixie, who?
Over the course of an exceptionally long career, Irving Caesar has worked with many composers, but 2 of them were giants, Vincent Youmans and George Gershwin, both of whom were born in New York and in the same month, September of 1898. Both of them would blossom early and die young. Gershwin's career lasted a scant 20 years, but it was supercharged. He was a musical meteor, prolific and powerful. It was in 1917 that Gershwin and Irving Caesar battered out a song that would sweep the world.
We sat down to the piano, and in about 15 minutes, Swanee was born. That's a fact. Started right at the verse, with the introduction to the verse. Yum, da-da-dum, da-dum. I remember George playing that introduction, and we went in. I've been away from you a long time. Boom, boom, boom. That's all. There isn't much to tell you. I mean, I wish I could say that we were sons of the Southern Confederacy. But we had never seen the Swanee River. After the song became a hit, we took a look to the Swanee River. We took a trip to Florida. It's a good thing we saw that we wrote the song first. It's a nice muddy little stream, but it wouldn't have been a great inspiration. By the way, Stephen Foster, who wrote the real Swanee, way down upon the Swanee. He never saw the Swanee River. Did you know that?
Yes, all the best Southern songs were written by Yankees.
Yeah, he never saw the Swanee River. You know the original title of the Swanee River? Stephen Foster's? The P.D. River. There was a river in Georgia, southern Georgia, on the border of Georgia and Florida, called the P.D. River. And he and his brother, poring over a map one night, looking for a more euphonious title for the song, found S-U-W-A-N-E-E, Suwannee, and that's how it got its name. We've never seen the Swanee River.
Thereby proving that romanticism and idealism have more merit in music than reality. Swanee has, of course, been sung by just about everybody in the world. Here's what it sounds like by the man who actually invented the words.
I've been away from you a long time. I never thought I'd miss you so. Somehow I feel your love was real. Near you I wanna be. The birds are singing in its song time. The banjo's strumming soft and low. I know that you yearn for me too, Swanee. You're calling me, you're calling, Swanee. How I love you, my dear old Swanee. I'd give the world to be among the folks in CIX. I even know my mammy's waiting for me, praying for me, down by the Swanee. You folks up now, well, see me no more when I get to the Swanee shore. I'll be happy, so happy, Swanee, I'm coming back to Swanee. Mammy, I love the old folks in DIX. I even know my mammy's waiting for me, praying for me, down by the Swanee. You folks up north, well, see me no more when I get to that Swanee. Funny thing about Swanee, it wasn't a hit right off the bat. Everyone thought it should be a hit. We put it in the show at the Capitol Theater when it first opened. Some of you people who come to New York know the Capitol Theater. Well, that was the largest theater in the world at the time when it first was built. And Ned Wayburn put our song in there. We were very proud with the opening of the show. 60 girls danced to it. They had electric lights in their shoes. Big effect. Arthur Pryor's band played it. 70 in the band. Everyone on the stage sang it. Everyone applauded. There were thousands of copies in the lobby, and nobody bought a copy. Not one single copy for 3 months. And George Gershwin and I we would hang around the lobby every night, hide behind posts, hoping against hope somebody would start the ball rolling. Occasionally, we would try to start the ball rolling and bought our own music. That's a fact. We thought maybe a line would queue up if we start buying a copy. Nothing happened. And one day, Jolson, who was playing across the street in the Winter Garden, invited Buddy DeSilva to go to a party. And Buddy, who liked George very much and wrote with him as I did, invited George to the party. And there, he very generously suggested to Jolson that Al should hear George play the piano. And George was one of the greatest of all pianists in his day. And George played, among other things, Swanee. Well, the rest is history. A week later, Jolson sang it. And within 2 weeks, it really became a hit. This is long before radio, too. A real hit. And that's the story of Swanee.
Swanee triggered off a torrent of American popular music. Europe had previously been the front of the music, but now it was America's turn. The First World War had, among other things, brought about great changes in public taste. The very tempo of life was affected. People looked for things that were faster and bolder, and the songwriters were well aware of this. All of a sudden, it seemed that all the bright young men of music were in New York, on Broadway or in Tin Pan Alley. They turned out masses of pop music, and it was devoured by the dance bands, the crooners, the movies, the stage, the radio, and the recording companies. Functioning high, wide, and handsome amidst this wealth was Irving Caesar, with songs like this.
I'm just a gigolo everywhere I go. People know the part I'm playing. Paid for every dance, selling each romance. Every night another heart betraying. There will come a day will pass away. Then what will they say about me? When my end comes, I know they'll say just a gigolo as life goes on without me. I'm going to sing it again. I really love this song. I'm just a gigolo everywhere I go. People know the part I'm playing. Take for every dance, I sell each romance. Every night another heart betraying. There will come a day will pass away. Then what will they say about me? When my end comes, I know they'll say just a gigolo as life goes on without me. But I'm not a gigolo.
When you look back on the 20s with Gershwin and Newman's, does that seem like the golden age of American song?
Well, I would say so, but I'd go, yes, of course. I'd go beyond Gershwin and Newman's. There was Jerome Kern, my God, great, one of the all-time greats. And then there was a fellow by the name of Buddy DeSilva, who, as I did, wrote for Jolson and wrote many of the George White scandals. And there was Ray Henderson and Lou Brown, and in the popular field there was Walter Donaldson, and then of course to go back to the show field there was Victor Herbert, and there was Rudolph Fresnel with Rose Marie.
Not to mention Cole Porter and
Cole Porter, one of the all-time greats.
Berlin.
Yes, and Berlin, who is the all-time great, I think, in every category. I always think that Irving is the all-time great, but I would say that that era, the 20s, even more than the 30s. The 20s and the early 30s, let's say. There's a 20-year period starting, say, around 1915 to 16 and going to about 1936 that I believe could be termed the golden age of...
It was a case of all the right men coming along at the right time.
That's right.
But where are they today? Why don't we have any Gershwins and Newmans today?
Well, the opportunities are there, don't you see? You said the right men at the right time. It's a different age, a different era. This not only takes place in the field of music, but I think in the field of art, in the field of industry. It's a synthetic age. Automation is coming along in industry. I think that more or less is going to eliminate the opportunities for craftsmanship, for great craftsmanship, for great skills.
A point to ponder on in this age of space, automation, and computers, that despite the technology, the old songs, hoary with nostalgia, refuse to die. Here's one of Irving Caesar's best, sung by the man who made it famous, Al Jolson. In this recording, he was assisted by the Mills Brothers.
Is it true what they say about Dixie? I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. Now, is it true what they say about Dixie? Does the sun really shine all the time? Do the sweet magnolias blossom at everybody's door? And do the folks keep eating possum till they can't eat no more? Is it true what they say about Swanee? Is a dream by that stream so sublime? Do they laugh? Do they laugh like they say in every song? If it's true, that's where I belong. Is it true what they say about Dixie? Does the sun really shine all the time? Yeah.
sweet magnolia blossom at everybody's door. The folks keep eating blossom.
No candy no more, that's me.
Is it true what they say about Swanee?
Oh, so.
Is a dream by the stream so sublime?
Yeah.
Do they laugh, do they love like they said every song? If it's true, that's where I belong.
Now, is it true what they say about Swanee? There's a dream by that stream so sublime. Do they laugh, do they love like they say in every song? If it's true, that's where I belong. I said, do they laugh? Do they love like they say in every song? Oh, that's pretty. If it's true, that's where I belong. You don't know what a great pleasure it is to a songwriter to write a song for a great artist. Because after all, songs are meant to be heard. And I've been very lucky to write songs for Jolson. I lived with Jolson. I knew him very, very well. He was a great friend of mine. But the thing that gave me an equal thrill was when I wrote a song, a few years after that, for little Shirley Temple.
Animal crackers in my soup, monkeys and rabbits loose the loose. Cash won't see, but I have them, swallowing animals one by one. In every bowl of soup I see, lions and tigers, what to me? I make them right to waffle, those animal crackers in my soup. When I get hold of the big basket, I push him under the ground. Then I bite him in a million bits, and I just move him right down. When they're inside me, where it's dark, I walk around like Noah's Ark. I suck my tummy like a goop when animal crackers in my soup. When they're inside me, where it's dark, I walk around like Noah's Ark. I suck my tummy like a goop when animal crackers in my soup.
One of the great things that can happen to a fellow who writes lyrics, is occasionally to get a great European tune and be asked to write the American lyrics for. Such an opportunity came to me many years ago. It's a tune I dare say you all know. It was a hit in Europe long before I put my words to it. In Europe it's called Vienna, the City of My Dreams. Here I called it Vienna Dreams, and I think it might be interesting to sing a little snatch of it. Dream, wild Vienna, dream, as on the Danube the moonlight gleams. Waltz to Vienna's melodies. Live, laugh, and love like the Viennese. Of me and it will seem lifetime is endless, love supreme, and with the dawn our hearts will dance on as old Vienna dreams. As much as I love to sing the song, it really isn't for my voice. I know it isn't. But there's another song that, at that period, I wrote the lyrics for with Vincent Youmans, you know, the great Youmans. We were writing a show then called A Night Out, an English show. And in the course of working one evening, Grace Moore happened to be sitting around with us. She was playing the music box at the time, and she loved to hear Vincent play the piano, so she'd come up and watch us work at midnight after the show closed. And this particular night, I said to Vincent, we were looking around for more melodies for the show, and I said, you had a melody in another show that you wrote for Arthur Hammerstein that I thought should have been a hit. I think it's called Come On and Pet Me. He said, oh, we tried it, and it was a flop. I said, but please play it for me because I love the tune. But Vincent was very stubborn. He wouldn't play it. He said, the tune has been tried. So Grace stepped in, and she said, Vincent, it only takes a minute to play it, and I'd love to hear it, too. So he played me the tune that had been tried, and I put some words to it. And it was really inspirational because I did it in about 4 or 5 minutes. The words just seemed to roll. Well, the show opened up, but the show was a flop. The tune, however, the song that we had written was a big hit. So the publisher, who had invested money in the show, closed the show to save the child, to save the song. And later the song was put into a show called Hit the Deck. Sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm blue. My disposition depends on you. I never mind a little rain from the sky if I can find sunshine in your eyes. Sometimes I love you, sometimes I hate you, but when I hate you, it's 'cause I love you. That's how I am, so what can I do? I'm blue or happy with you. Sometimes I'm happy, sometimes I'm blue. My disposition depends on you. I never mind the rain from the skies if I can find sunshine in your eyes. Sometimes I love you, sometimes I hate you, but when I hate you, it's 'cause I love you. That's how I am, so what can I do? 'Cause when I'm happy, or when I'm blue or happy with you.
Irving Caesar worked on 2 big Broadway musicals with Vincent Youmans, Hit the Deck and No, No, Nanette, and they contained several songs destined to become perennials. Caesar recalls what it was like collaborating with Vincent Youmans.
I'm much known as a singing lyric writer. In other words, I seldom use a pencil until I've sung a song, until I've written my lyric in my head 100 times and sung it to myself. Then I write it down. And when I'm working at the piano, I don't play the piano with a composer, I have a tendency, a weakness for making melodic suggestions because they come readily to me. I do write music, you know. You couldn't do that with humans. You could never throw them a note. Never throw them a note. It would have made life easier, although I was very lucky. I loved his tunes. And when we worked on No, No, Nanette, I think I wrote one a night. I mean, almost. I don't think we ever had any struggle. In the case of Tea for Two, I did make this suggestion at the time, and he accepted it. Because he liked the idea of the song so much, and he liked the first line so much, and it would go da da dee da dee da dee da dee da dee. And I wrote the lyric just as a dummy. He woke me up about midnight. At midnight, to play it, we were at my apartment working, and Gertie Lawrence lived down the street. The girls had just come over with a shower review, and they were having parties there almost every night on 54th Street. The street I lived on, and Gertie would come over at 12 o'clock and whistle up, and we'd come over there and have some fun and entertain. So I had said to Vincent while he was at the piano writing some manuscript, I said, I think I'll take a few winks of sleep. I said, before we go to the party. Well, I hadn't lied down for more than 15 or 20 minutes when I felt this tugging, and it was Vincent. He said, "Steve," he said, "get up." He said, "I want you to hear a tune that just came to me." And I said, "Oh," I said, "write it down, make a note of it, and I'll do a lyric tomorrow morning for it." I said, "Let me sleep." He said, "No, you've got to hear this." And he fairly dragged me to the piano, and he played dee-da-dee-da-dee-da-dee. I was very sleepy and almost a half listen. And I said, "We'll play it again, and I'll do a dummy lyric for it, and I'll write it in the morning." So I played it again, and very drowsily I intoned, "Picture you upon my knee, just tea for two and two for tea, just me for you and you for me alone." He said, "Go on, that's great." I said, "I can't go on with single rhymes, monosyllabic rhymes." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "We ought to say, nobody near us to see us to hear." And I made him double the tempo of that line in order that I could write it, because I just couldn't have gone on. And since he doubled the tempo, I wrote the thing in about 2 minutes.
I'm discontented with homes that are rented, so I have invented my own. Calling this places a lover's oasis where life's weary chase is unknown. Far from the cry of the city, where flowers pretty caress the streams. Cozy to hide in, to dwell side by side in. Don't let it abide in my dreams. Just try and picture you upon my knee. Just tea for two and two for tea. Me for you and you for me alone. Nobody near us to see us or hear us. No friends or relations on weekend vacations. We won't have it known dear that we own a telephone. Day will break and you'll awake and start to bake a sugar cake for me to take, for all the boys to see. Family, a girl for you and a boy for me. Can't you see how happy we could be?
Although they were born within 24 hours of each other, George Gershwin and Vincent Youmans were different kinds of men, different in their personalities and in their methods of writing music. Gershwin erupted with music and threw away what he didn't like. Youmans was meticulous and didn't throw anything away. His career spanned only a dozen years, and he retired at the age of 33, a tubercular invalid. Youmans wrote less than 100 songs, and about a third of them are still performed. And as any songwriter knows, that's an incredible average. Irving Caesar looks back on Youmans with fondness and sadness, a greatly gifted and tragic composer.
Well, my first impression of Vincent Youmans was that I was meeting a very sensitive, quite humble, shy, modest young man. But when he sat down to the piano, he seemed almost like a child, running up and down the keys, all musical, you know. He never played chords. George played, Vincent would play some chords, but George, for example, would play melody and chords, but not Vincent. Vincent would play chords and whistle. And that's a very fine way of writing a tune, you know, because you get a pure tune. You see, your fingers don't write for you. I think Youmans was the Mozart of our time. Really, I do. A great melodist, you know. And this is acknowledged by all the other writers in the business, that Vincent Youmans was probably in his category. You have to take these people in their category. The finest melodist we've had. He just never wrote a bad tune. Now, he was very ambitious and very determined, although it was camouflage, shall we say, under a very charming exterior. But there was no doubt that he was resolved to make a niche for himself.
But he wasn't very successful as a producer of musicals, was he?
No, that's because he overreached himself, don't you see? When he started producing musicals, in the first place, he wasn't adequately financed. It's very, very important. I mean, he did get finances, and he had some money to gamble with, shall we say, and some backing. But even in those days, of course, it only cost about $70,000 or $80,000 to produce a musical in 1925, 26. But after all, $70,000 or $80,000 in 1926 is the equivalent of maybe $250,000 today. However, today, as you know, no musical can be thought of unless you have a budget of at least $400,000 or $500,000. That's how expensive they are. And then, of course, he was sort of a restless soul, to be at the business end of anything. You have to have more or less of a businessman's mind, poise. And the artist very seldom becomes a good businessman.
Newman's wasn't up to that kind of working, huh?
Well, he thought he was, because, as I say, since he was very ambitious, he was a restless soul, and he wanted to encompass everything. He should have liked to have not only written the music, but written the words, and perhaps written the play and staged it, and known the theater. It wasn't a question of greed or anything of that kind. Just a drive.
The drive of Vincent Youmans was not and still isn't uncommon among the creators of popular music. Talent has never been enough. It also takes tenacity. It's a crazy business, as Irving Caesar must have pondered when he penned this lyric, here sung by the Modernaires with the Tex Beneke Orchestra.
Rhythm, that's what you need to make a number swing. The most important thing is the beat. Rhythm, it's not the words or sweet melodic sound that make you jump around on your feet. Isn't it clear whenever you hear a drum by chance that old urge to dance soon begins? If there's a doubt, look out, we're about to demonstrate. Joey Preston's great on the skins. Crazy rhythm from now on we're through. Here's where we have a showdown. Until I have you to load down. Crazy rhythm and here's goodbye to you. They say that when a man from meets a local rocking along Broadway.
Soon our brow, he has no brow in his shade.
And you're to blame.
What seems of prohibition, you produce the same condition.
Crazy rhythm, we're crazy. Dooba-dooba-dooba-dooey, shabba-doo-doo. Shoo-wee-doo-doo-doo, yeah, shoo-wee-doo. Twee-twee-doo-doo. Shabba-shabba-shabba, ow. Ching-ching, ching-a-ching-ching, ching-a-ching-a-ching. What is the use of prohibition? You can't produce the same condition. Crazy rhythm, crazy rhythm, crazy rhythm, we're crazy too.
Crazy Rhythm. The Irving Caesar's song bag is a big one, and he's still putting stuff in it. But time is of the essence. Time for a finale. Your choice, Mr. Caesar.
One of the joys of a songwriter's life is to have a great personality sing his songs. They needn't be the greatest singers in the world because, after all, they're great singers in the choruses of the Metropolitan Opera House, and somehow or other they stay in the chorus. You have to have some kind of personality. Well, I have a song that I wrote for a show, and it's going to go into a show. I couldn't resist the temptation once of singing it across the table at Lindy's to Danny Kaye. And so Danny said, that's for me, and I sent it to him, and he recorded it. Then one day, Jose Ferrer heard Danny Kaye's recording of it, and he got in touch with me and said, I'm doing one of those TV spectaculars. Do you mind if I do Ladies, Ladies? Well, who would mind Jose Ferrer doing anything? So he did Ladies, Ladies, and that about tells the story of Ladies, Ladies. It's only been done twice until that happy day when I put it in the show that I'm working on right now. But perhaps you'd like to hear it. Ladies, crazy about them, can't live with them, can't live without them. Marilyn, Madeline, Mabel, and Maisie, verily, verily, they drive me crazy. Is she tall? Then I like a tall girl. Is she small? Then I like a small girl. Is she fat? Then I like a fat girl. Is she lean? Well, you know what I mean. Oh, ladies, ladies, hi diddle diddle. Ladies, ladies, there's such a riddle. Carolyn, Catherine, Kitty, and Carrie. Verily, verily, which shall I marry? Is she blonde? Then I like a blonde girl. Is she red? Then I like a redhead. A brunette never fails to get me off my bean. Well, you know what I mean. Oh, ladies, ladies, married a single. When I'm with them, I'm all a tingle. Hot or cold, young or old, 18 or 80. Verily, verily, give me a lady. Is she yours? I'm in love with your girl. Is she his? Well, I'm in love with his girl. Who's that girl? I'm in love with that girl. She's a queen. Will you see what I mean? Oh, ladies, ladies, Greek or Romanian, Russian, Prussian, Turkish, Albanian, Japanese, ladies from Siam. Verily, verily, there, baby, I am. Does she dance? I'm the guy attends her. Does she sing? I sing a cadenza. Does she act? I become an actor in her scene. Will you see what I mean? Oh, ladies, ladies, English or Latin, girls from London or from Manhattan, Geraldine, Josephine, Judy or Janie. Verily, verily, I am the zany. Does she cook? I become a glutton. Does she sew? Will I provide the button? Even though she is good for nothing, she's my queen. Will you see what I mean? Oh, ladies, ladies, Irish and Spanish, sweet petite girls, weak girl the manish, Sylvia, Stephanie, Susan or Stella. Verily, verily, I am the fella. Is she rich? Then I love a rich girl. Is she poor? Then I love a rich girl. Rich or rich, doesn't matter which girl haunts my dream. Will you see what I mean? Oh, ladies, ladies, kiss them and bless them. Ladies, ladies, yes them and yes them. Verily, 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 kiss them and bless them all.
Irving Caesar, the apotheosis of pop songwriters, now in his 70s and still going strong. Our thanks and good wishes to him. This is Tony Thomas in Toronto. I hope you've enjoyed listening. Good night.